Well, that was a very interesting week one. Other than the Broncos, losing, I had a very enjoyable watching experience. A lot of good games, a lot of highlights, I would say, that kind of happened over week one. A lot of big things happened that you typically don't expect out of a week one. It's kind of a basic, start to a season, and then this one, there was just a lot of things that kind of happened, but we're going to get all into that. Yeah. These are my 6 that I chose that I think deserve the most talk. You have the Chiefs and the Lions, the Bills and the Jets, the Dolphins and the Chargers, the 49ers and the Steelers, Broncos and the Raiders, and the Cowboys and the Giants. So I'm going to start doing a top 6 games of the week that get highlighted for the thumbnail. And newsflash, the Broncos are always going to be on there. So, yeah, hopefully your team makes it out of the other 5. But, yeah, let's get on to the first game. The Lions and the Chiefs. So I got this pick wrong, obviously. If it's still laggy, I don't know what to do. But yeah. First game, Thursday night, we had the Lions and the Chiefs. I'm not gonna lie, I had the Chiefs kind of destroying the Lions. That just wasn't the case. I had no faith in the defense for the Lions. Turns out the Lions have a pretty solid defense. It's not great, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I would say that the defense got lucky this game. The Chiefs couldn't catch a beach ball. This was a very bad game for the Chiefs receivers. Obviously, Tooney, who I thought was going to have a good game, clearly didn't. But, yeah, as you can see here, they held Mahomes under 250. It's typically what you want, especially when you're playing Mahomes. They still let him get 2 touchdowns. Very easy touchdowns, though. So nothing super crazy. The Chiefs' run game was non-existent. No one was getting any yards. Or, they didn't run a lot of run plays, I felt like, as well. But, they weren't doing nothing. But, I was really proud of, the Lions, stealing this win that definitely needed to happen for the Broncos, which didn't even matter. But, yeah, the Chiefs just, completely couldn't, they were doing everything, they couldn't do anything. They just couldn't do anything. I was very, very happy that the Lions won. But, yeah, I would say the Lions got lucky. They didn't have Chris Jones. They didn't have Travis Kelce, who, gets probably 80% of the targets. Tooney dropped every pass that was thrown to him. So, the Lions, they got lucky, but at the same time, you got to give them credit. But I will say that was a lucky win. But, yeah. Next game, we're going to go to the first game of the 12 o'clock ones. We had the Texans and the Ravens. CJ Stroud did not do good. He couldn't really get things going. He got strip sacked, but they just couldn't get the ball down the field. The offense was consistently stalling. No rush attack was very present for the Texans. The defense wasn't insanely bad. I think it's more of just no help from the offense. But, look at this. This is just 38 yards. You gotta, come on. Sucks for J.K. Dobbins. He tore his Achilles. Was something I definitely wasn't seeing. I was going to expect him to have a pretty decent year. But that's pretty unfortunate. Lamar didn't do insanely well either. He didn't show out. I think the Ravens just kind of won the game. They weren't really, there wasn't a lot of intimidation here from the Texans, so they didn't really have to dig deep and put the game on someone's shoulders. But yeah, just a pretty easy win for the Ravens. As you can see, it's pretty one-sided all the way across. Kind of, not really. Mainly on the defense, but it is what it is. The Ravens just kind of, they just casually won the game, I felt like. But yeah, CJ Stroud, first rookie game, you got to give him a little slack there. Next, we're going to go to the next game with the Panthers and the Falcons. I actually was watching this game, and I want to put the blame... It's hard to say who I want to put the blame on because, Bryce Young did throw 2 picks. They were very bad picks. Both of them, I will say, I thought his height was going to be a problem. Mainly his size, more not really his height, but mainly like his, build. But those 2 picks were due to his height. He did not see the safety, because of the center. Like, the center was right in his field of vision on both of those interceptions. And if he was taller, he would have most likely seen that safety. They're not going to say that, but if you look at the replays, it's clear as day. Like, he just could not see over the center on those 2 picks. So the Falcons actually only scored touchdowns off of those 2 interceptions and what was the other one? Off of a penalty. So a pass interference penalty. So the Falcons, they got 3 touchdowns for free. The offense wasn't doing anything. You're going to look at Desmond Ridder and say, like, oh, he did amazing. He threw for 115 yards off of 15 completions. He's not throwing more than 10 yards a play. He's not doing anything great with the football other than not giving it to the other team. He was consistently getting pressured, really bad completions. He was very scared to keep the ball and run. He was just constantly giving it to Bijan Robinson, and Bijan was just getting lit up consistently in the backfield. But yeah, Bijan's kind of like that. He really is. He's kind of like that. And he got that quick burst out the backfield. So I'm pretty interested in to see what he's going to do against the less, the weaker defensive lines, because the Panthers, they were getting some, they were getting after it. The linebackers in the secondary were a little lackluster, but that D line was, they're kind of like that. So just keep an eye out for that. Like I said, I think it was more of a, I think you almost have to put the loss on Bryce Young just for those 2 picks, because both those picks led to very easy touchdowns. And like I said, they only scored off of, they got 3 touchdowns because of, the 2 interceptions and that horrible pass interference penalty that they called for Kyle Pitts. But yeah, Mac Hollins, by the way, is a big body receiver that's something like the Cowboys need, that they can't apparently draft or get in free agency. But yeah, I think Bryce Young is going to bounce back. He's going to learn from those really bad picks. But we'll kind of see. So I feel like this is a big upset. It's not really an upset in terms of oh, they lost, but more like a blowout. You know what I mean? 3-24. 14 completions for 82 yards. He's playing like he's Desmond Ridder. Just a complete horrible showcase for week 1 by Joe Burrow. Was he 100%? No one's going to know. Like I said, I don't think he's going to be 100%. Was he? Who knows? I doubt it. Maybe 80. But still, at 80%, you got to at least throw a touchdown. Because, apparently Joe Burrow's like that. Everyone thinks he's like a top 3 quarterback, but He's over here throwing 82 yards in his debut. Deshaun Watson, he did all right. Nick Chubb is going to do Nick Chubb things. Unfortunately, he had a fumble. But, yeah, that's kind of unfortunate and rare. Joe Mixon also is kind of just there. Joe Mixon just feels weird. I feel like he was good for so long, but he was kind of off the radar, and now he's just like okay with a bunch of money. Jamar Chase, he got locked down, 39 yards. But, yeah, it's kind of a strange scenario with this game because, it was just a blowout, a complete blowout. The Myles Garrett he was literally just going through the offensive line with ease. People who really don't think that Myles Garrett is probably the best defensive lineman in the league right now, I find it very hard to, be around those people who don't believe that. He is beyond athletic. He's strong. He's really fast. He has tons of aggression. He's literally the best defensive lineman in the league. And to me, it's not even close. But not really much to go off of in this game. It was a complete blowout. What else can you say? Next, we have a game where I got it completely wrong. Is the 49ers and the Steelers. And I thought the Steelers were going to kind of, be like that. I was a little hesitant on Brock Purdy, what he was going to do. And this game was everything but what I predicted. Brock Purdy did amazing, 2 touchdowns, good passer rating, 220 yards. Kenny Pickett, he had a decent amount of yards, a touchdown, but he had 2 picks, really bad ones. Christian McCaffrey was like that in his first game, 152 for a touchdown. Who said anything about injuries? He's over here getting 150 with a touchdown. Najee Harris was non-existent, no help to Kyle Pitts. Neither was the offensive line, but it was just a bad game. Brandon Ayuk went insane. I think he's maybe this will be the year he's going to kind of broaden out his abilities. But Brandon Ayuk had a great game. Allen Robinson, it's hard to say. This guy he's just old. He's old at this point. He's past his prime, and he's out here leading the receiving corps. That's kind of whack. Very disappointed in the Steelers. Maybe they'll bounce back. Maybe they're trash. Who knows? I had a lot of high hopes for them this season, but after seeing, a little bit of that's not looking too good. You can see here, San Francisco completely dominated. 15 more minutes. The Steelers were consistently just getting 3 and outs. It was pretty pathetic. The Cardinals and the Commanders, like I said, I don't think anyone wanted to watch this game. I'm pretty sure the stands in this were completely empty, but I did get this correct. We do see here Joshua Dobbs did play. Obviously, Kyler Murray wasn't going to play. He didn't even do good, and they still almost won. Sam Howell, he had 202. I think this is his first start, if I'm not mistaken, and a pick. So I'm not a big fan of James Conner or the running backs for either of these teams. I'm just not a big fan, but maybe they'll develop. Who knows? James Conner, he's already kind of developed. He's a veteran at this point, but I've just never been a fan of him. I think he just was really good in the Steelers scheme that once he got to the Cardinals, it just didn't work out. Yeah. You can see here, it was a boring game. There wasn't really much to go off of. The Cardinals they're just down so many people. Their roster is very weak. The Commanders have a decent defense. There's not really much to go off of on this game, to be honest. It was going to be a win for the Commanders. The only way the Cardinals were going to win that is the Commanders just completely just played like trash. Next, we have the Buccaneers and the Vikings. I got this game wrong. I think Baker Mayfield, is one of the weirdest players. He does extremely well, and then he'll just do the dumbest things the next game. This game he was on. Running the ball, throwing it accurately, efficiently. The Vikings just completely let this game go. Kirk Cousins had 304 yards, though. 344. That's pretty, he gets yards. Like Matt Ryan, he just kind of gets those yards. But he threw a pretty bad pick, but he threw 2 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, he went crazy. 9 for 150. If he just had a touchdown, he probably would have won so many, fantasy, weeks for people. But, the Buccaneers kind of stole this win, to be honest. But good for them. It was a good win, especially when you're a big underdog like that. It's a good win. As you can see here, they just... I don't even know what to say, to be honest. It was just a big win. The 2 fumbles, I think, for the Vikings are kind of what gave this... they turned it over 3 times, That always helps the other team and, waste offensive drives. But I don't know. I'm kind of proud of the Buccaneers, to be honest. Next, we have the Jaguars and the Colts. This was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Don't let the score, really fool you there. This game should have been like by 1 to 3 points. The Jaguars just kind of scored a lot at the end, but the Colts, they were keeping up. Trevor Lawrence had a decent game. Anthony Richardson for his first ever game, I think he did pretty decent. But yeah, it's hard to do anything with such a horrible offense. There's no weapons for him, Anthony Richardson. He has no help. No playmakers. Calvin Ridley, people forgot that he was good, I guess. Everyone was so surprised that he was going to be out here catching touchdowns like he's not wide receiver 1. But, yeah. Michael Pittman, surprisingly did decent this game. But who knows? The Colts are they're in rebuild mode. They're not going to be a competitor anytime soon, but in time, they will, they're going to be up there. Trust that. But, yeah, a solid win for the Jaguars, division rival. But, give Anthony Richardson some credit. The Jaguars should have blew out the Colts, and they didn't. Next, we have the Titans and the Saints. This game was also... a lot closer than it probably should have been. Ryan Tannehill does what Ryan Tannehill does. People still think that he's a good quarterback, and it blows my mind. He is not good. The Titans have the worst quarterback room, I think, in the entire league. You got... I don't even know their names. I always get mixed up. They got Will Levis? Levi? I don't know what his name is. Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis, I think his name, right? All 3 of those dudes are trash, and they're out here backing up Ryan Tannehill, throwing 0 for 3, less than 200. Derek Carr had a sneaky 300 game, also threw a pick. Derrick Henry, obviously, like I said, if Derrick Henry isn't just going complete AWOL on their defense, the Titans are going to lose. And what did he not do? He didn't go AWOL, and they lost by a point. Jamal Williams didn't have a crazy good game. Wasn't getting that many yards. DeAndre Hopkins, I low-key forgot that he was even on the Titans because the Titans are such a whack organization. But yeah. Rashad Shaheed, people still sleep on him. He got 5 for 89 and a touchdown. This game, like I said, should not have been as close as it was, which kind of makes me worry a little bit for the Saints. But yeah. So that's all of the 12 o'clock games. We're going to go on to the 3 o'clock games and go for Probably it's going to be game of the week, to be honest. This was a shootout. Tua 466, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Justin Herbert, couldn't really match up, couldn't really keep going. Justin Herbert gets a lot of short passes. He gets a lot of short things unless the receiver do a lot of the work. He's not a super crazy arm talent like some of these other quarterbacks. He can make a throw. I'm not saying he can't. But they put his arm talent with some of the best, and I just don't see it. I put it more as a Justin Herbert is an odd quarterback. To me, he's not a top 5, but he's a top 10. He does the correct things most of the time, but arm talent, I don't see it. Raheem Mostert, they need a running back. I didn't realize the Dolphins were so weak in the running back room. They need a running back, and I feel like they should have really pushed for, just one more running back. I don't have faith in this running back room. Austin Eckler, 16 carries, 117, a touchdown. Like I said, he's going to touch the ball plenty of times. Tyreek went completely insane. I believe had the 3rd most or the 4th most yards in a season opener. He had 215, 2 touchdowns off of 11 catches. Insane. No one could cover him. Double coverage, deep coverage, slants. No one could cover him. Keenan Allen, had a decent. Keenan Allen is going to have, around the same stat line throughout his entire season. He's a very consistent receiver, and I honestly hate that because, division rivals, but hate to say that he's like that still. But a really good game, tons of points, very actiony all the way up to the end, but huge win, I think, for the Dolphins there. So, and plus, knock out the Chargers, a win. Always love to see that. This is another game where, to me, it's an upset. The Seahawks losing to the Rams by 17. Matthew Stafford didn't even throw any touchdowns, and they still won the game. Geno Smith, 16 for 112, pretty trash. Threw a touchdown, but it's like whatever. This game was just boring. Just boring. The Rams were just doing whatever they wanted, just kind of doing whatever, The Seahawks playmakers did not come to play, and the Rams dominated in every category, so there's not really much to go off of this game. They just kind of destroyed them, to be honest, but Matthew Stafford not throwing a touchdown and you lose, that's pretty bad, man. That's pretty bad. Next, we have a game that was a lot closer than it should have been with the Eagles and the Patriots. The Eagles were kind of blowing them out in the beginning, and then, they just let New England kind of come back a little bit. But Jalen Hurts didn't have an amazing game. Most of his stats kind of came from the first half, to be honest. Mac Jones, he did pretty decent. They kept throwing it, though. Throwing. They did not run the football. But, yeah, the Eagles, man, they lost some guys. Gainwell, I believe a cornerback. They lost some players, due to injuries this game. But, this game was a lot closer than it should have been. Like I said, they kind of let him come back. But I still think it's a great game for the Patriots. For the most, everyone was talking trash about Mac Jones, and he came in and almost beat the Eagles. So the Patriots almost winning with no roster is pretty crazy. But next we have a pretty whack game with the Packers and the Bears. I had the Packers winning. The Bears just have a really trash roster. Jordan Love did amazing. The Bears defense made him look way better than probably what he actually is. Justin Fields could not throw the ball good this game. But both teams could not get the run game going. But yeah, the Bears defense is a problem. It's bad. If you're a Bears fan, you need to seriously be worried about your team's defense. There's holes all over the place. The defensive line is weak. The linebackers are slow, not great tacklers. The secondary doesn't look like they don't even know what to do half the time. The play calling on the offensive side for the Bears is also really bad. Just a very bad team at this very moment that doesn't have a lot of potential. They had DJ Moore, but DJ Moore, it's like you can't utilize him correctly if you don't have a solid enough team. I think the Bears, they got the right idea, but their roster is just not there. Jordan Love had a great game, though. Let's see if he can, keep that up, because basically he's like a fourth-year rookie right now. I'm going to go over the last 3 o'clock game, the Raiders and the Broncos. I'm going to go over that last. Next, there's really not anything to go over on this game, but the Cowboys and the Giants. The Giants just did not show up to play. I don't know where they were at, but it wasn't... This was a really bad game. A really bad game. This is probably the worst game a team can almost play. A pick six, a field goal return for a touchdown. They threw an interception. They fumbled. No team has ever done that in one season. All of those things. The Giants did that in the very first game. All in one game. Which is insane to think about. Dak Prescott didn't even have a great game. He didn't even need to have a good game because of how bad the Giants played. Look at the stats here. Giants had less first downs. They completed less third downs. They rushed for less. They had 171 total yards for the day. Daniel Jones threw 2 picks. I don't even know what to say. This was one of the worst games I think I've ever seen from... I don't know. This game was over before it started. It really was. Darren Waller, 3 receptions for 36 yards, and he gets hurt with his hamstring again. Yeah. Just a really bad game all around. But next we have the Bills and the Jets. Final game of the week for Monday night. This game was crazy. I've never seen, I think, a team that had more hype coming into the season than the Jets. Probably for a long time. I've never seen a team have this much hype. All for them to just lose it in a matter of seconds. Aaron Rodgers just goes down, At first, I'm looking at the replay, I'm like, oh, he kind of sprained his ankle, twisted it or whatever. And then, a little bit later, they're saying, oh, it looks like it's something in his Achilles. I'm like, his Achilles? What do you mean his Achilles? Looks like an ankle sprain to me. And, after the game, they're over here saying, oh, it's bad. It's bad. And come to find out, he completely tore his Achilles. At 39 years old, that's not an easy injury to come back from. But very unfortunate injury. I was kind of excited to kind of see what the Jets were going to do this season. They kind of had a decent roster, and then in a matter of seconds, it just kind of shatters. But they still won the game, though. Let's not get down in the dumps here. They won the game. Mainly because Josh Allen was, playing probably one of his worst games of his career. 3 interceptions, and they were bad ones. They were bad. He decided to run on a lot of stupid plays, too. Put his body in jeopardy on a lot of plays that he did not need to run for. Just a really bad game to me. Stephon Diggs got his work in. James Cook didn't show up to play. Breece Hall was going crazy. But Garrett Wilson, I don't even know. It's hard to say if he's going to be good or not. But if you look at these stats here, this game came. Let's not forget, this game came down to a penalty. This went to overtime. The Bills, they won the toss. You think they're going to go down and finally just kind of win an overtime game. And what does Josh Allen do? Gets down the field, doesn't really do nothing. They punt it off, and then what did the Jets do? They run it back. They won this game off of a not called tripping penalty. But we're not going to really get into that. I don't think that really would have changed much. I think the Jets would have still won this game, just the way it was going. But super unfortunate with Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, he was one of my favorite quarterbacks growing up. Over time, probably the last 2 or 3 years, he definitely fell out of that list. But, it sucks to see him. It sucks to see a quarterback who has that much hype and just that well-known and stuff go down with a season-ending injury. It's always tough to see that. But, yeah, that's a tough injury. But let's see what Zach Wilson can do, I guess. So I'm not going to lie. This game, I don't even want to talk about it. It's making me mad just looking at these, stats and stuff. This is the first game where I can say the defense, truly lost. They lost this for us. The Broncos offense did great. Russell Wilson, 27 completions, 177, 2 touchdowns, perfect passer rating. Jimmy Garoppolo kind of had the same thing, but with a pick. Jimmy Garoppolo was getting the ball out immediately. He was not holding onto the ball, not rolling out in the pocket, not doing anything. He was literally, as soon as the ball was snapped, he knew he was throwing it to one receiver, and he was not looking at any reads. He was getting the ball out quick. We held Josh Jacobs, I think, to an amazing game. He had less than 50 yards, no touchdowns. Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine, they did pretty decent. I think the offense was kind of non-existent in the second half. We kind of stalled, mainly due to having to kind of play catch-up the whole time. Even though we were, not really having to catch up, we were just down. And it was just kind of hard to kind of get there, But this game, honestly, for the Broncos was lost due to 2 players. And those players are Damari Mathis and Will Lutz, the kicker. Will Lutz missed a 55-yard field goal. You could say, hey, it's a 55-yarder. It's pretty far. Yeah, it is what it is. But he missed an extra point. We lost by a point. We could at least have, that would have changed a lot just if he would have made the extra point. He makes the field goal too. That's a whole different story. Damari Mathis, out of Jimmy Garoppolo's 20 completions, 9 of them were to Damari Mathis, the second-year corner, who was consistently getting lined up with Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams. When Devontae Adams was covered by Patrick Surtain, Devontae Adams got 10 yards. With Devontae Adams, when Damari Mathis was on Devontae Adams or Jacoby Myers, things were not going to be good. Out of those 20 completions that Jimmy Garoppolo threw, 9 of them were to Damari Mathis. And out of those 9 completions that Damari Mathis led up, it was 2 of them from Jacoby Myers' touchdown passes. The other 7 were completions for third downs that led to a first down. So Damari Mathis literally kept drives alive for the Raiders and led up the 2 touchdowns. So single-handedly, he lost kind of this game for the Broncos, him and the kicker. Everyone else played pretty decent. We also were down our star tight end. We were down Judy last minute. So 2 explosive players were gone from the offense. But yeah, I'm not gonna put full blame. This game should have easily been a win. But it's pretty unfortunate. It just really is, and I'm a little bit disappointed just in how everything fell. But we should do a lot better this next week. We also were getting no pass rush whatsoever. Max Crosby was doing his thing, just forcing all kind of bad stuff to happen. But Max Crosby's like that. So really bad loss. I was very, very mad, but I'm kind of over it. Not really, but what can you do? On to the next week. You can't linger on a loss. You just can't. The more you linger on it, the more you're just not going to be prepared for the next week. But going on to week 2 for my picks of the week. I'm recording this on Wednesday. I'm going to start uploading my videos on Wednesday night, maybe Thursday around lunchtime, depending on the week. But I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon. We have the Vikings and the Eagles. This game, I don't really know. This is going to be a tough game. Like I said, a lot of injuries for the Eagles. But the Vikings, I feel like, are going to come back pretty pissed. This is a revenge game for the Vikings if they manage to come back and beat the Eagles. But this is going to be a tough... it's going to be a tough pick. I think that, like I said, man, the Eagles got a lot of injuries coming up into this game that's gonna affect a lot. My gut is telling me the Vikings. I don't know why. I don't know why. But I think that the Eagles are going to have a better game. I think they're going to put a lot more pressure in the pass game. And I don't think the Vikings secondary is like that. So I'm going to pick the Eagles on this game. But I'm not going to be surprised if the Vikings win whatsoever. Next we have the Bucs and the Bears. The Bears are going to Tampa Bay. I'm picking the Buccaneers, man. After what I've seen from the Bears, that was just an embarrassment of a roster on the defensive side of the ball. And if, Baker Mayfield plays another great game, they're going to blow out the Bears. But I got the Buccaneers on this one. Next we have the Packers and the Falcons. And I want to say with this game, let me make sure here, just to be sure. Where is... Give me 1 second. I don't think I've ever had to leave a video like that, but it's always a first. Let me just mark this down here. But yeah, next we have the Packers and the Falcons. I'm picking the Packers. Like I said, I don't think Desmond Ridder is like that, and I think Jordan Love and that offense kind of got things clicking. But Bijan is going to be a problem for the Packers defense, I think. But I guess it's kind of hard to see how good the Packers are because they played the Bears, and the Bears looked horrible. So this is kind of the Packers' first game, in my opinion, to kind of see where they're at. But I think they're better than the Falcons, so I'm picking the Packers here. Colts and the Texans, I think this is going to be a very, very close game, 50-50 coin flip. I'm picking the Colts. I think the Colts can win this game. Anthony Richardson almost kind of came in and beat the Jaguars with no roster. Both of these teams don't have a great roster, so this is going to be a very boring game, which I don't think is going to be shown probably other than Texas and Indiana. So, yeah. I'm picking the Colts. Would I be surprised if the Texans win? Not at all. I think the Colts just have a slight edge. Next, we have the Seahawks and the Lions. I'm picking the Lions. After what I've seen, they got that dog in them. I don't think the Seahawks, like I said, I thought that Geno Smith was going to be like a one-season thing. Looks like it might be that. Who knows? I'm picking the Lions, though, for this game. Chargers and the Titans, I'm picking the Chargers. The Chargers have no business losing to the Titans. If they do, shame. Shame on you. But I'm picking the Chargers all day. I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to have a really good game, though. Keep an eye out on that. Next, we have the Bengals and the Ravens. This is going to be a really close game, I think. Are the Ravens going to come back and try to redeem themselves a little bit? Or are the Ravens going to actually try and, do something this game? I'm going with my gut. I think that the Bengals will have a bounce back game. Would I be surprised if the Ravens win this? No, not at all. In fact, this is such a coin flip of a game where the only reason why I'm picking the Bengals is because I don't have faith in the Ravens running backs other than J.K. Dobbins. I mean, who else do they have? I bet you can't even name their other running backs. I'm picking the Bengals just off of that. So, we'll see. Next, we have the Raiders and the Bills. I don't even know, to be honest. But the Bills played so bad that I almost want to pick the Raiders here. The Raiders just can move the chains. That's what they can do. They're not going to get big flashy plays, but they're just going to consistently keep getting first downs. I think the Bills may play a little bit better this game. Josh Allen's going to be a lot smarter. And I don't know. I think the Bills are going to do a little bit better this game. I think they're going to come back and win. That's just my opinion. We almost beat the Raiders on, a couple of big star injuries, and we lost to two people. I mean, we lost because of two guys on our team. I think the Bills can win this. Chiefs and the Jags. This is going to be a close game, I think. This is always a close game when it comes down to the Chiefs and the Jaguars. It looks like Chris Jones is going to be back. It looks like Travis Kelce is going to be back. But I'm going with my gut. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I think they're going to have a big bounce back after getting embarrassed like that. But don't be surprised if the Jaguars just come in and out of nowhere and knock this Chiefs team 0-2. Don't be surprised. I'm picking the Chiefs. Best believe I'm going for the Jaguars, making sure they get my full support. Duval. Next, we got the 3 o'clock games. We got the 49ers and the Rams. I'm picking the 49ers. I think the Rams just got a little lucky, to be honest, last week. And the 49ers kind of look a little strong. So I'm picking the 49ers for this particular game. Next, we have the Giants and the Cardinals. The Giants have no reason to lose this game. I think they're going to be coming out pissed that they got embarrassed like that. Let's not forget. Let me go back one thing real quick. just to be sure that I didn't miss something. Okay, I didn't. I don't think Kyler Murray's going to play. I really don't. I don't think he's going to play again. So that's the only reason why I'm picking the Giants. Would I be surprised if the Cardinals win? Maybe. I think the Giants just had a really, really, really unfortunate bad game. But I'm picking the Giants. Next, we have the Jets and the Cowboys. This should be an interesting game. I'm picking the Cowboys though. I don't think that oh my gosh, I forgot his name. Zach Wilson is ready for this Cowboys defensive line. But we're going to see. I'm picking the Cowboys though. I think the Cowboys are going to win this. I really do. And where is it at here? Next, we have the Broncos and the Commanders. I got the Broncos, man. I mean, the Broncos don't have a reason why they can't beat Sam Howell. They should easily be able to get to the quarterback this time. We didn't sack Jimmy Garoppolo one time, but the Raiders always do have a great offensive line, plus Jimmy G gets the ball out quick. But, yeah, we stopped Terry McLaurin. We hold their running backs pretty decent. I think the Broncos kind of blow out the Commanders in this game. The Commanders, if they can, kind of lock us down, would I be surprised if we lost to the Commanders? Not really. But we have no business losing to them. I'm picking the Broncos. This should be an easy pick, Next, this is kind of weird. We have two Monday night games. We have the Saints and the Panthers and the Steelers and the Browns. This is going to be a tough pick because, yeah, I don't really know. This is a very, very tough pick. This is a coin flip in my opinion. This game relies on Bryce Young. And I think that he can do good this game. If the secondary for the Panthers holds up against the Saints pass attack, the Panthers are going to blow out the Saints. If the Saints take advantage of a weaker secondary, then the Saints are going to blow out the Panthers. This is going to be a blowout. Either way, it's not going to be a close game, I don't think. But I think the Panthers can win this game. So I'm picking the Panthers here. The Browns and the Steelers. Oh. Well, let me pick this first. The Browns and the Steelers is the last Monday night game. I'm picking the Browns. I mean, I think Deontay Johnson also isn't even going to play. So that's a big L for the Steelers. Plus, Myles Garrett is a beast, always against the Steelers. I'm picking the Browns. I think that Nick Chubb is going to have a better game as well. I completely forgot about the Sunday night game with the Dolphins and the Patriots. I'm picking the Dolphins. Sorry about that, but yeah. So those are my picks for the week 2. And that's going to pretty much wrap up today's video. Like I said, I think so much has happened in this week 1 right off the bat. But I'm excited. I'm very excited for what this whole season is going to bring. And, yeah, I'm just excited for it. Tough week for the Broncos, obviously, and a lot of teams like the Giants, and the Jets. New York didn't have a great day, other than the Jets kind of winning the game. But did they win the season? Probably not. But I'm excited. I'm ready for week 2. I think the Broncos can get a win. And hopefully there's not a lot of blowouts. I'm not a big fan of blowout games, unless the Broncos are the ones doing the blowouts. I'm not a big fan of them. They're very boring to watch. But especially if it's a prime time. But I will see y'all next week for week 2 recap and week 3 picks. As of right now, I'm 9 for 16. I got 9 correct, 7 wrong. So I'm going to put all that in the description. Obviously, the timestamps are going to be there. If you want to keep up with me and compare your picks with my picks and see kind of where we're at in terms of how many you got right and how many I got right. I want to try to beat my record last year. I believe my overall percentage for picks was like 68% or 72%, something like that. It was a lot lower than I wanted it to be, but that's because I was making my picks on Tuesday. Most people make their picks on Wednesday or Thursday. This is why I'm trying to do it on Wednesday so I can get more accurate on my picks. But we will see. Like I said, hopefully everyone has a great week. Hopefully your team wins, unless your team is the Chiefs. But, yeah. I will see y'all in my next video. Appreciate it.